Where did Maroon communities thrive against all odds? Imagine a world where freedom was hard to find, yet brave groups of formerly enslaved Africans carved out their own safe havens in the wildest places. These are the Maroon communities, and they thrived in some of the most challenging environments. They found refuge in remote, difficult-to-access areas across the southern United States and the Caribbean. These places were often dense swamps, thick forests, or rugged mountains, making it tough for anyone to catch them. In the United States, Florida was a major hub for these communities. When Spain controlled Florida, they offered sanctuary to escaped slaves. Some of these groups, like the Black Seminoles, formed towns in the swampy central parts of Florida. They worked closely with Native American tribes, especially the Seminoles, blending African and Native American cultures. Fort Mose, established in 1738 near St. Augustine, was the first legally recognized free black settlement in what would become the United States. It was created specifically for escaped slaves protected by Spanish authorities. Further north, the Great Dismal Swamp, which stretched across parts of Virginia and North Carolina, served as a natural fortress for runaway slaves. Its dense vegetation and muddy waters made it nearly impossible for slave catchers to find or follow them. These communities survived for decades, living off the land and maintaining their independence. In Louisiana, the wetlands and bayous near New Orleans were also home to Maroon settlements. These swampy areas, filled with insects and difficult terrain, provided safety and resources for those fleeing slavery. They built homes in the water and kept their traditions alive, resisting colonial control. In South Carolina and North Carolina, similar communities existed in forests and swampy regions. These places offered hiding spots away from the reach of slave patrols and colonial authorities. Beyond the United States, Maroon communities thrived in the Caribbean, especially in Cuba, where they built settlements called palenques in the mountains. These communities kept African traditions alive and fought against colonial powers, often negotiating treaties to stay independent. These societies were more than just hiding spots. They were places where people created their own rules, kept their cultures, and fought for their freedom. They combined African and indigenous ways of life, built leadership structures, and sometimes even made agreements with colonial governments. Their existence challenged the idea that slavery was unbreakable and showed how resilient and resourceful Black Americans could be. The story of Maroon communities reminds us that even in the toughest conditions, the desire for freedom and self-determination can lead to remarkable acts of resistance. They contributed cultural practices like music and storytelling, and helped shape the history of African Americans. Their legacy is a powerful example of how communities can survive and thrive against all odds, holding onto their identity and independence.